Hi, I'm Anthony, and welcome to the E3 prediction episode of the Bystanders podcast. Frank and I discuss what's already been announced, what could be announced, and what should be announced at E3 2015. Unfortunately, this episode was recorded before all the Smash Bros. Leaks started pouring out. Luckily, I had the forethought to not care about talking about Smash Brothers very much during the recording. Enjoy the show! Now we gotta talk about E3!
The Electronic Entertainment
The Electronic Entertainment Expo. Because they call it the E3 Expo. Alright, so I guess we'll get the this is mostly going to be about Nintendo, since that's mostly what I pay attention to. I tried to look into the stuff coming to Xbox One and PlayStation 4, but it's like sequels to things I already don't care about. More Call of Duty, more Infamous, more Metal Gear Solid, more Halo, and stuff that you don't play. So it's like, okay, I'm not going to play the next one.
Assassin's Creed.
And most certainly, the sequels to these games aren't going to make me go out and buy an Xbox or a PS4. I want a new experience, and so far I don't feel like any of the games have done that. I just saw the trailer for Street Fighter V, and it looks just like Street Fighter 4. That's pretty boring, considering how far they went between Street Fighter 2 and then Street Fighter 3 had all new pixel animation. Street Fighter Alpha did too. And then they go to Street Fighter 4, and it's cool, 3D graphics in Street Fighter for the first time. But then they just did it again for Street Fighter 5, and I've come to not really like the graphics of Street Fighter at this point, or at least the newer ones, because they look so beefed up and hammy. Everyone has muscles everywhere. Like Gears of War.
Yeah.
But even Gears of War was more realistic, because at least they had
the armor.
Everyone had that perfect giant chest physique.
Yeah.
But in Street Fighter, it's hulking masses of muscle. They're thick, like the Hulk. I don't think Ryu or Ken would be that stacked, when you gotta do flying karate kicks and stuff. Wouldn't you expect them to be a little closer to Bruce Lee or something?
Yeah, I doubt you have very much agility with that much muscle.
Well, if they like some muscle on Ryu and Ken, let's give them all the muscles.
Or they turn them into Super Saiyans or something?
Yeah, basically, they just keep charging up and keep getting beefier. Anyway, I don't want to talk about Street Fighter all day. Well, if I did, I'd be talking about Street Fighter 2. So the things we expect Nintendo to announce is a new Star Fox. I really hope that's a big part of the E3 show for Nintendo is showing off Star Fox. I hope it's playable and people can check it out, and they give it a real title and everything, and a release date.
To come out on the Wii?
On the Wii U. And it's going to be awesome, hopefully. I mean, there hasn't been a good Star Fox game since Star Fox 64, at least in my opinion. And I've played all the Star Fox games, but there's just something missing in all of them. Star Fox 64 was a really straightforward experience. You just go through and you blast alien ships. Sometimes there's a couple things that make it a little more challenging, or give you a slightly different set of goals to reach. But usually you're just blasting everything out of the sky. And that's super rad. And then they mucked it all up. In Star Fox Command, you had to make a flight path. Anyone ever thought, I want to make flight paths when I play video games. And then in Star Fox Adventures for the GameCube, they let Star Fox get out of his ship. Why would you do that? It's just like in the game Driver, when they let the guy get out of his car, and he walked super slow, and you couldn't control him.
That was horrible.
And I was like, I just wish I was in a car right now.
Well, I can see it for Star Fox, because they're just capitalizing on the the Smash Brothers games were like...
Yeah, now that everyone knows who he is.
Yeah.
But then that didn't work either because, like, in the Smash Brothers games, Fox is agile, like a fox, you know? And, like, he moves quick and does all his karate moves. But in Star Fox Assault, that was the one for the GameCube, where he could get out of his ship and, like, shoot people with a rocket launcher. But it was so dumb to use because, like, you couldn't control... It's still like you're controlling, like, a tank or a car or something. Like, you had to reverse instead of just, like, turning around. So it was just, like, a really crap... Like, when he got out, it was just, like, a really crappy third-person shooter.
Yeah.
That one made me mad the most, Assault, because the first stage played just like a classic Star Fox game. It started off with fighting Andros, the original villain. It started off with fighting his nephew, was the first stage boss. And then from there, it just turned into a big pile of shit. So hopefully, this new Star Fox is being made by Shigeru Miyamoto. You know, the guy who made Mario and Zelda and the original Star Fox games. So hopefully he can get this series back on track and make it, like, actually incredibly fun. And also add some online multiplayer. Because seriously, how could I need to play Star Fox Online. And they haven't given it to me yet. Star Fox 64 was right up there with Mario Kart 64 for, like, multiplayer games back then. And they just kind of shoved Star Fox in like, a desk somewhere. Well, Mario Kart gets all these sweet online options. Yeah. Alright. So, Nintendo's also gonna show off Mario Maker, which is gonna be super rad. This is a game I've wanted for, like, the last, 20 years.
The hell's Mario Maker?
It's a game where you get to design your own Super Mario levels.
Oh.
And the stages can be based on Super Mario Bros. 1, Super Mario Bros. 3, or Super Mario World. So you can build your own levels with all kinds of crazy stuff. Like they showed, like when you hit like a block instead of like a mushroom coming out, like enemies can pop out of them now. They hit one and like a Goomba pops out of it. So like you could stuff like any item in a box apparently. You could take items from Mario 3 and you could use it in Mario 1 and weird stuff like that. So it sounds like it's going to be, like, really versatile. Yeah. And then just getting to build and play Super Mario levels all day, that's, like, my idea of fun. Like, I'm just going to be building levels from other games. Like, I'm going to have, like, a Mega Man series of stages. Or, like, Contra or something like that.
Zelda.
Oh, that would be super cool.
Sounds interesting.
So hopefully they show off more of that because it's supposed to be coming out this month or next month, I think. I pre-ordered it already. And then they already announced and showed off a trailer for Hyrule Warriors 3DS. So there was a game called Hyrule Warriors, which is
that's something to do with Zelda.
Yeah.
I'm not big on Zelda, so I don't know.
something about Warriors.
I barely know anything.
The coolest thing about this, it looks pretty much just like the one that came out on the Wii U last year. This Zelda beat-em-up game where you can play as characters from Legend of Zelda and beat up a bunch of enemies with a bunch of super big attacks and stuff. But the coolest part is that they announced Tetra for it. You know Wind Waker Zelda, at least, right? The cartoon-looking Zelda? Like Toon Link?
Okay.
From Smash Brothers?
Right.
This is basically Toon Zelda. And she's finally in the game. I wanted her to be in Smash Brothers, like as a miniature version of Zelda.
Yeah.
Just like there's Link and Toon Link. But I'll take this, I guess. Because she looks rad in it. She's a pirate in the Wind Waker game. So in this one, they instead of just giving her like a swashbuckling sword, she also has an old-timey pistol.
Do you have to take like 5 minutes reloading it?
I was wondering that. Like, it looks like it's her special attack, though. She does a bunch of attacks with the sword, and then, like, finishes them off with the gun.
You only get to use it once.
Makes sense. Like a pirate with some wooden, like, Gatling gun.
Oh, jeez.
Alright. And then, I think the last thing everyone's expecting from Nintendo is more stuff on Smash Brothers. They've already announced that Lucas downloadable character for Smash Brothers comes out June 14th at the beginning of E3 week, basically.
It's this weekend.
Yeah. Next week is E3 week. That's why we're talking about it. In case you didn't know.
Now I know.
So, we're expecting Lucas, of course. We'll probably get like a small trailer maybe for him the day he's released. But I think they're also going to reveal not just another character, but also more stages and more costumes and stuff for the game.
Yeah, you just gotta have extras.
Not just announce the fighter, but also announce a bunch of other extras that are going to come when the fighter comes out. And maybe some that will actually be announced when Lucas comes out would be pretty cool. But I'm not betting on that too much. So now, to talk about some of the stuff that's rumored to end up at E3 this year. And then we'll talk about how likely that actually is. The first one, the biggest one, and also, which obviously makes it the least likely, is a sequel to Shadow of the Colossus. The Last Guardian finally coming out, maybe, possibly, perhaps, rumor has it. So the legend goes.
The game that should have came out like 5 years ago.
Let's put it this way. I bought a PS3 for Last Guardian. Dang. And now there's egg on my face. Thanks a lot, Sony.
PS3, jeez.
But anyway, so now the rumor mill's running. But I'm sure it runs every year Last Guardian isn't mentioned. Because Last Guardian has gone through development hell, basically. They started making a game. They announced it before they even knew what the hell they were doing with it.
They just said, hey, we're making it.
Well, they had a fancy CGI trailer, and no one could tell if, oh, those are amazing PS3 graphics of gameplay, or if it's just a trailer where it makes it look that way.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be about this boy and this giant monster. And then, like, we find out, like, in interviews that were coming out at the time, we're still working on it. We're still trying to figure out what the game's about. And you're like, Shadow of the Colossus took a long time to come out, too. So you're like, it's about on track, I guess.
How complicated could it be?
To make an entire game before you know what you do inside the game. But so, it was moving along really slowly, right? The next thing you find out is the guy who's creating the game, the guy in charge of the studio, creating Last Guardian, he's quitting Sony. He's like, I don't even want to work here no more. It probably has something to do with his game not coming out. So, like, he quits, but then he announces, I still work at Sony until the game comes out, and then I'll really quit. But then the next thing you know, everything's radio silence for like 4 years.
Yeah, that's not good.
But every time someone decides to bring it up to like a Sony executive, like, hey, where's Last Guardian? We're still working on it. It's not canceled, I guess.
Next question.
Get this camera out of my face. So now, after someone wised me to the situation, I went and looked into it myself, like what the real rumors are. And basically it led to, there was a guy who says, now, don't tell anybody, even though he like announces on a podcast or something, but there is a guy who worked on this stuff who might now be in charge of Last Guardian. So of course everyone figures out who it is immediately. Like, oh, this guy worked on this stuff and he's worked with this studio before, so oh, it's obviously him. And then they asked him, he's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Can neither confirm nor deny.
And then they're like, well, there you have it. Absolutely true. Absolutely true fact.
That's what passes for journalism these days.
And so I was like, well, okay, so that means they're definitely going to show a trailer for the game next week. That someone's rumored to might be working on it, even though they denied it.
But they're going for a surprise factor. I think they kind of blew it on that.
That would still be a surprise, because I don't believe them. And then even if they do show a trailer, I have a hard time believing any of these guys, quote-unquote, broke the story. Like, hey, Frank, I hear they're going to announce a new Zelda, and it's going to come out. Surprise, free Zelda! That could be our rumor.
Sure.
Because I know a guy, and he told me. And now I'm telling you, so you know a guy that knows a guy.
And so the chain begins.
Alright, so there's some things rumored for Nintendo to have, and of course you get the regular rumors, like another Metroid, another F-Zero, even though those are never going to happen. But we also have rumors heating up for Paper Mario. Basically, there's a series of RPGs called Paper Mario, where Mario is made out of paper.
I think you showed me that one.
Yeah, and he could turn into, like, he could use his paper form to do different things in the environment and stuff like that. But it's mostly an RPG game, like Final Fantasy or Kingdom Hearts or something, where you just, like, fight bad guys and then you fight the ultimate boss at the end. But it's really fun because it's so well written. I think that's what makes the Paper Mario series stand out the most. I think the battle systems are always really fun, but most people don't tend to focus on battle systems in RPGs, at least as much as I do. But the storyline is so good. There was a part where, in Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, where Mario accidentally gets involved with an underground fighting tournament and becomes known as the Great Gonzalez.
What?
Like, just all the writing and dialogue is always great in the Paper Mario series. Even if the games themselves, well, the most recent ones, they really veered away from the RPG roots. So, like, it hasn't really felt like a complete, true Paper Mario game. They felt more like spin-offs lately.
Do they go with, like, open world?
Well, there was one that was more like, it was called Super Paper Mario. It was more like a platformer. Like, you didn't get into RPG fights. You just, like, jumped on Goombas. And then there was Paper Mario Sticker Star for the 3DS, which is a good game, but I didn't like the battle system, so it was hard to stick with it. A lot of people act like it's like the worst game ever. It's not. It's definitely the worst Paper Mario game, but that still makes it better than plenty of games. Like, yeah, like you already have this idea of Paper Mario in your head, so like it was a disappointment to. In some aspects of the game were disappointed in what they gave you instead of what you expected from them. But the game was still fun. Too bad the battle system was poorly thought out because you have to use stickers. Basically, you have like a page of attacks, and every time you use an attack, you lose it, like forever. So you're always getting rid of them and then trying to find good ones, and then you're trying to like decide which good ones to get rid of and which crappy ones like to hold on to because you might need them later, and all this stupid inventory bullshit that just made the game come to a grinding halt because you get to an area and it's like, you need this sticker to move on. You're like, oh, there's no stickers here though, so you have to go back to another level and you're backtracking and you're trying to do all this stupid crap.
Yeah.
So it took a lot of the fun out of it. But so everyone's hoping that a new Paper Mario gets announced, and I don't know where the rumors are coming for this. I think it just feels like time for another Paper Mario.
Or it'll be Paper Mario and Super Smash Brothers.
That would be so awesome. Yeah. Like, I'm a big advocate of that because you already got 2 Marios. What's the 3rd Mario? Plus, like, Paper Mario fights way differently because he has those jumps, but he also carries, like, a hammer with him. He kicks, like, turtle shells and stuff. Anyway, I'm really hoping they announce a Paper Mario for Wii U, because the graphics will be absolutely beautiful in high definition. Or they should just do an HD remake of Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door from the GameCube. That's probably the most well-known Paper Mario game, even though a lot of people swear by Paper Mario 64. But either one could get an awesome remake. And then the last one, the one I want a remake of, that's getting a couple of rumors, is Kid Icarus.
Ooh.
That would be the shit. Kid Icarus Uprising for the 3DS is probably my favorite 3DS game. Yeah. It's so epic. Like, the storyline is amazing because there's so many twists and turns. It almost felt Metal Gear Solid-ish. Because you're like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. But not to that Metal Gear Solid degree where it just starts getting batshit crazy.
With all the espionage.
Anyway.
So, Kid Icarus, that's Pit, right?
Yeah. But it would be really cool because that's a really great looking game, and I wish other people could see it because it's so action packed and there's so much stuff happening in the game that, like, I would just love to see it on the big screen because it's so animated, like a movie kind of. Plus the online, I'm so good at it. there's not a lot of games I'm good at competitively. So anytime I find one that I am, like, I really gotta milk it for all it's worth. That's why I play Mario Kart all the time.
Gotta hone those skills.
Yep. And Kid Icarus is the same way. Like, I could nail, like, I have the right weapon set up, and I could just dominate. And it was so much fun. And I would love to be able to do that again on a new version. Alright, so now we're just going to run down some of the ones I want to see. Like, I don't expect any of these. Well, there's like maybe one or two I do expect, but overall I don't expect any of these to happen. A new F-Zero, of course, but it's not going to happen. We're not even going to dig into that. A new Metroid game?
Ooh.
I wish, man. I would, because they've been remaking a lot of games, I really think they should just remake Super Metroid for the 3DS. You could, like, update the graphics a little, and you add the 3D to it, maybe add some new secret sections and stuff, and you're done. Like, you don't even have to make a new Metroid. You already released the best Metroid ever made, so done and done. Because they've, like, been remaking Zelda games and Mario games now, so come on, just throw Metroid in there. Advance Wars, I would love to see, but the company that makes Paper Mario is the same company that makes Advance Wars, and they're also working on Fire Emblem right now, so it's hard to imagine where they're going to find the time for all of that. But I hope they could make Advance Wars something, even if it was only online, only battle mode Advance Wars. That would be epic on the Wii U, so you could do your tactics on the gamepad and then watch like a war on the TV.
Nice.
Amiibo, some sort of Amiibo game. Like, you know how there's
game?
Well, you know how there's like Skylanders, and they have like a game where like if you get your toy and you put it, like, it gives you that character in the game.
Okay.
And Disney Infinity is the same thing. Like, Disney Infinity is a video game, or it's like just like a beat 'em up game where you go through different stages, beating people up and collecting coins or whatever. But each Disney toy gives you that character in the game. But Nintendo doesn't have anything like that, even though they have Amiibos, which you could put in a game. It's always for boring content, like an extra costume or an extra item.
Yeah.
Nothing like really big. So I'm hoping they'll finally make like a full game where you could use any Amiibo, and that could be like your character in the game.
Sounds good.
And hopefully it needs to be an action game. It needs to be like a fun game where you can beat people up. Like, not some puzzle game or something stupid.
Yeah.
Where like you don't really get to control your character. Because I think that's what people really want, is to like physically control the action figure. Because that's what they do in Disney Infinity and Skylanders, and those have been incredibly successful. And I do expect Nintendo to do something like that, but I just hope they don't half-ass it. Like, I hope they make it like a really good game out of it. Oh, more Mario Kart 8 downloadable content. I think that's another for sure thing Nintendo's going to do.
You still want those costumes?
Well, yeah, the costumes would be great.
What are the characters?
That's one of the few things Amiibos do that I care about, is unlock costumes in Mario Kart 8.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything else that the Amiibos can do or unlock in all other games, even games that I own, I haven't even used them. I don't even need to unlock that. Not even worth turning on the game.
Forget it.
You mean I have to get my Amiibo out and turn the Wii U on? No, thank you. And then finally, this is the one I would be most excited about. Mario Strikers. The Mario Soccer game series.
Yeah?
Super Mario Strikers is so epic. The GameCube version came out. It was just basically 3-on-3 soccer, but with items like Mario Kart. Item boxes would show up on the field, and then you could get ice shells, throw an ice shell at someone and it would freeze them. Or you could get like a red shell that would take out the person who has the ball.
Yeah.
Of course, you could get like bananas to put on the floor. The one came out for the Wii, Super Mario Strikers Charged. You could get more characters. You could decide who your goalie was, and your like 2 backup characters, and your captain. You could have like Dry Bones as your assist man. You could have one of the alligators from Donkey Kong as your goalie.
What?
You could have Princess Daisy be the leader of your team. They also added, like, special kicks for everyone. Super moves, basically.
Everybody gets one.
So the game was all epic and super competitive. Plus, everyone basically knows how soccer's played. So it's not hard to get into. Get that ball into that goal.
It's just so boring. The field is all huge.
That's why you add weapons. Oh, plus in Mario Striker's Charge, there's no out of bounds. If you get hit into the wall, you get electrocuted.
Nice.
And you straight up see, like, the characters getting electrocuted by it.
It teaches you not to do it again.
Yeah, because there's, like, an attack in the game where you could ram the guy to make him drop the ball. So you can ram them into the wall and they get electrocuted and they get stunned. You just take off. It's brutal, man.
Nice.
So that's, like, my definite number one thing I want to see at E3. Especially because I think the development studio working on that isn't working on anything right now. So it'll make perfect sense. Was there anything you wanted to see at E3?
I don't really follow E3 too closely, so...
There's still plenty of video games you haven't played, right?
Yeah.
You don't need to worry about the newest ones?
A whole shitload.
How many God of Wars has it been?
I think there's been 4. But I only played up to 3. And like I said, the last Metal Gear I played was that Snake Eater one.
That was part 3. Part 5 of Metal Gear Solid is like the 20th Metal Gear game. I think we talked about it on the show before.
But I don't remember Metal Gear 4. Was that the one?
It was on the PlayStation 3. It had like Old Man Snake with like gray hair. And Old Man Raiden with gray hair. And Raiden was like a cybernetic ninja.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I never played that one either.
And then after that one, like there was Metal Gear Everything. Metal Gear Acid, Metal Gear Rising, Metal Gear Butts. Maybe. Probably.
Sure, Anthony. Metal Gear Butts.
That's probably why Kojima doesn't work for Konami anymore. He probably pitched that one. I'm sick of making Metal Gear games. Here's your new Metal Gear game. Just draws like a fucking butt on a sheet of paper. Kojima, this is the last straw. You insult our honor.
No, but the butt is a robot.
Huh? Alright, well, I'm sure you can make it work. We call it the robot. That's it. No more.
You're out of here. Do they announce cell phone games at E3?
Nintendo actually announced that they will not announce phone games at E3.
That's one hell of an announcement. That's a good non-announcement.
Don't worry, quote-unquote hardcore gamers. That's gamers with a Z at the end.
Gamers.
Alright, I think that's everything. Oh, I should say that I didn't do... You think this is a game? Because we're gonna retool the podcast a little.
Yeah.
So I think if we do it, if we continue it, I'm gonna make like a whole quiz segment. I'll ask you like 3 questions maybe. Find a way to make it so you can actually infer the answer instead of just guessing.
That would be nice. So look for that.
Oh. Me and... Thanks for listening to another episode of the Bystanders podcast. Be sure to find and follow us on iTunes. You can check out our show notes by going to thebystanderspodcast.com. Get in touch with us, info@thebystanderspodcast.com, or on Twitter @TBSPodcast. You can also support our show on Patreon. Just go to thebystanderspodcast.com/support to find out how. Thanks for listening.